organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
It's kind of frustrating because this is where I go every 6 days a week.
And catch more sand and umbrella cocktails than news this past week. We have a rundown of what you may have missed while you were soaking up the sun.
And in sports, find out where and how Hawkeye Athletics spent their spring break.
That and more all ahead. You're watching Daily Iowan TV.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Sanchez.
And I'm Cole Johnson. New tonight, Hawkeyes have something big to celebrate as the women's basketball team advances to the next round of the NCAA tournament.
Taylor Brooks is live in the sports studio with tonight's top story.
It was a storybook ending inside Carver Hawkeye Arena as the Iowa Hawkeyes played their last home game of the season. But their story still continues as senior Bethany Doolittle did all the right things by scoring 22 points to help the Hawkeyes cruise to the Sweet 16. We will have more on that win over Miami later on in the show. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Taylor. 'Tis the season for championships in Iowa City, but one is going to cost some students. Today, many are getting last-minute workouts in at the campus rec center. Come next week, it closes its doors to the public. Why? The NCAA Men's Swimming and Diving Championship. The NCAA will take over locker rooms for drug testing athletes and gyms for additional seating. Building reps say the rec center will be closed off to the public for all of next week, forcing active members to find other places to fit in their exercise routine.
It's kind of frustrating because this is where I go every 6 days a week. They said that they have other facilities, but they're a little far from me in location, and so I really don't know. Yeah, I'll probably just ride my bike around, depending on the weather, and do some home workouts.
The rec will reopen on March 29th.
Well, it's technically springtime now, but winter is rearing its head once again. Today, temps reached into the 50s, but with winds of 17 miles per hour, it felt more like the 40s. And here's where we get to the bad part. Overnight, that light rain will start and eventually, brace yourselves, turn into snow. Accumulation of no more than an inch, but still not exactly the greeting we were all hoping for upon returning from those spring break destinations. Once the wintry mix passes, tomorrow's temps will thaw everything out. Look for a high of 42, and for evening, we're looking at a drop back down into the low 30s. I'll be back later with your extended forecast.
Wow, Cole, what a welcome back to Iowa City.
That is for sure. Tonight's forecast is coming as quite a shock to those coming back from spring break.
We hope everyone had a great break. But while you were checking out, we were checking in. Here's a few stories you may have missed during your week away.
Before break, we told you about a petition gaining ground to stop the deportation of an Iowa City pastor. Despite the signatures of over 40,000 supporters from Iowa and beyond, 41-year-old Max Villatoro was flown back to his home country of Honduras. Thursday, Villatoro, charged with a drunk driving and tampering with records, left behind a wife, 4 children, and the Iowa City Mennonite church he used to give Spanish sermons at. Villatoro's recent March 3rd arrest is just one of a group of 2,000 arrests of illegal immigrants convicted of crimes.
You may also remember us telling you of a wild story of an Iowa City Craigslist sale turned armed robbery last month. Well, now police say they've caught the man accused of pulling a gun on the seller of a remote-controlled toy car. 23-year-old Dylan Phillips of Marengo, Iowa, was arrested on first-degree robbery last Wednesday. This was the scene early last month when Phillips attacked the Craigslist seller, prompting a hawk alert and a manhunt. Police tracked Phillips to his brother's apartment by following a cell phone number used to talk to the victim. If convicted, Phillips faces up to 17 years in prison. Americans are getting more details about the dramatic days that followed our nation's first terrorist attack since 9/11. The trial for the Boston bombing of April 2013 continued this past week with disturbing displays of evidence and a recall of the lead up to accused Johar Sarnef's capture. Police testimonies took jury members through the bomb-ridden standoff in Watertown, Massachusetts, just days after the original bombing. Photo evidence showed a neighborhood littered with equipment of terrorists, a pressure cooker bomb embedded into a neighborhood car, a lid stuck in a child's hockey net. Keep it here with Daily Iowan TV as that monumental trial develops.
And maybe you saw this as you were heading out of town last Friday. An Illinois man tried and failed to drive his vehicle down the spiraling Riverside pedestrian bridge early Friday morning. Iowa City Police say 19-year-old Brian Bordwell, drove his car east towards the Iowa Avenue exit. When they arrived at the scene, the four-door Pontiac was stuck on the sidewalk below. That bridge is just over 8 feet wide.
Still ahead on Daily Iowan TV.
Lifting weights and lifting confidence, how a different set of athletes brought their A game to Iowa City.
And a last hurrah for a local treasure. More coming up next.
But first, Mitch is back with your extended forecast.
Mitch?
Thanks, Cole and Megan. Looking ahead, this week will definitely be cooler than the last couple. Along with that chance of snow and wintry mix I told you about earlier, we will also see a chance of rain Tuesday evening. Accompanying that are temps that will really bounce around. Get ready for a little cooler Tuesday, followed by about 60 on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the sun seems to take a bit of a break this week. We're expecting partly to mostly cloudy skies for the majority of the week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will all stay right in the mid-40s to 50s range. And that is all from the weather studio. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mitch. A world-famous piece of art with a University of Iowa connection. Now it's time to say arrivederci. Blake Jorgensen has the story.
From the University of Iowa to LA to Sioux City and soon across the globe, Jackson Pollock's mural has been on display at the Sioux City Art Center since last July. The mural was gifted to the university in 1951 and evacuated from the university's art museum after the 2008 flood. It arrived in Sioux City from Los Angeles and is scheduled to take a tour of Europe with stops in Italy and London, among other places.
So this is a big event for Sioux City to have this painting here, and it's a big world event for people to get to see this painting, which is rarely traveled.
To say goodbye, the Art Center held Arrivederci Pollock, a free event featuring local indie rock band Ghost Cat, which wrote a song dedicated to mural called Song, giving Sioux City residents a chance to rock out and appreciate a precious piece of art for the last time.
Yeah, the whole thing has been pretty exciting, and for Sioux City, and realizing too also in reading about Jackson Pollock, and his parents were from Iowa, so I didn't realize that there was the connection there as well.
The mural will be on display in Sioux City through April 1st and won't be back in the U.S. for a couple of years, but when it does, it will be displayed in the new University of Iowa Museum of Art. In Sioux City, Iowa, I'm Blake Jorgensen, Daily Iowan TV.
It was a jam-packed spring break for Iowa athletics.
The Hawkeyes were everywhere over the U.S. To catch us up, we'll send it back over to Taylor Brooks in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Taylor?
Thanks, guys. The women's basketball team seems to be on a roll after their 18-point victory over Miami earlier today. We will have more on that when we talk one-on-one with basketball reporter Ryan Rodriguez later on. The women's team isn't the only Hawkeye sport that was in action over spring break. The NCAA Wrestling Championship came to a close yesterday in St. Louis. For the Iowa Hawkeyes, things might not have gone as planned as they ended up placing second overall behind Ohio State. Another upset that came from the mat was from sophomore Corey Clark. The third-seeded wrestler dropped an 11-8 decision to Oklahoma's Cody Brewer in the 133-pound national finals. When asked what he could take away from the loss, he answered, "I don't really even know what to say. You've just got to keep wrestling the way you've been wrestling. You can't change the way you wrestle." Even with the season-closing loss, Corey Clark ends his season with a record of 30-6, winning 13 of his last 15 matches. Iowa as a team closed out their 2014-2015 season with a Big Ten dual title, a Big Ten tournament title, and 6 All-Americans. Nothing to be ashamed of. Switching from the wrestling mat to the gymnastics mat, the Iowa women's gymnastics team competed at the Big Ten Championship in Ann Arbor, Michigan Saturday. The team posted a season-high score of 195.5 points, which is the highest team score at the Big Ten Championship since March 20th, 2004. 4 Gym Hawks were named to the all-championship team: sophomore Molly Dreneth, junior Allie Glover, senior Sydney Horer, and sophomore Angel Metcalf. The team finds out Monday if they'll qualify for the NCAA regional competition. Enough with the past, we now head into the present, where the Iowa women's basketball team is celebrating a Sweet 16 appearance after their win over Miami earlier today. A great atmosphere inside Carver as usual, and someone who got to experience that courtside was Daily Iowan women's basketball print reporter Ryan Rodriguez, who stands alongside me now to recap the game. A big victory today by the Hawks. Take me through what really got Iowa to get this win today.
Well, they did what they do best, which is shoot the ball. You know, they came out a little bit flat in the first, only shot about 30% from the field, but really regrouped well and came back out in the second, shot the lights out, went 18 of 24 from the field, and that was a huge reason they kind of downed them today.
Someone that definitely stood out. It was perfect. It was a perfect time for senior Bethany Doolittle to step up. That's exactly what she did. What did she do today?
Well, the Miami defenders were kind of giving her a lot of time and space to shoot, and she really took advantage of it. It seemed like every time she had the ball within 20 feet of the hoop, she had plenty of time and space to set up and take a shot, and she did. Ended up knocking down a lot of 10 and 15-foot jumpers.
Perfect. Iowa ends with an impressive 18-0 record inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. What can we expect them standing in the Sweet 16?
Well, they'll practice this week before flying to Oklahoma City on Friday to take on Baylor. It's a 2-seed versus a 3-seed, so it should be a great game.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming on with us today, Ryan. It seems that both Iowa men's and women's teams are taking the challenge in the NCAA tournament this year. The men's team cruised to their first tournament win since 2001 on Friday night against Davidson. 3 Hawkeyes scored in double digits, led by senior all-star Aaron White with 26. Behind him was point guard Mike Gazelle with 15, then Peter Jock with 12. With the win, the team went on to play number 2 seed Gonzaga tonight. For that recap, tune in right here on tomorrow's program. Even though spring break is over, Iowa athletics are still in full swing for the spring season. Make sure to tune into Daily Iowan TV Sports every Sunday through Thursday to keep you updated. For now, you guys have a story of another set of athletes.
That's right, Taylor. These athletes focus on using sports to build friendship and confidence.
That's the goal of Special Olympics Iowa. Tanner Sigworth was at last Saturday's event and has more.
Locations across Iowa City played host to over 1,000 Special Olympic athletes and their families for the annual Midwinter Tournament last Saturday, an event put on by the sports-based foundation, Special Olympics Iowa.
Special Olympics Iowa, it helps individuals with intellectual disabilities come out of their shells and form friendships and build confidence through sporting events. So at this particular event, we'll have anything from powerlifting to gymnastics to basketball, dance, cheerleading.
Special Olympics Iowa consists of about 12,000 athletes from across the state.
And we lost track of the number of volunteers because we had so many folks that came to us and wanted to work, and then a whole bunch more showed up.
One group of volunteers at the tournament was the UI Powerlifting Club.
We help with spotting and loading for the lifters, make sure everything is safe and that the lifts are performed in a safe manner, as well as just supporting all these guys here, all the competitors and Special Olympians. It's really all about them, just helping them out, have a good time.
But much more work has to be done outside of the event, as these athletes of all ages go through large amounts of training and preparation. And that means getting into the gym every Saturday to practice with their coaches.
It's just been great. I mean, coming to the event, watching them compete, have fun. They're very impressive. I mean, the things they can do, there's no limit.
Reporting from the field house, this is Tanner Sigworth with Daily Iowan TV.
Wow, Cole, what an awesome organization. It's really great what they're doing.
Absolutely. That's all for tonight's edition of Daily Iowan TV News.
Make it a great night.